In Arthur Ransome's 1937 book We Didn't Mean to Go to Sea, the cabin boat Goblin is based on the author's own boat, Nancy Blackett, named after one of the heroines of his children's book series. Today the boat is looked after by the Nancy Blackett Trust, and Peter Willis is one of her main custodians.
Here she is. We're in Robertson's yard in Woodbridge. She's being put to bed for the winter. We've had Nancy for 22 years now, amazingly enough, and she's been looked after by this yard for 19 of them. Every year we try to do a little bit more to keep her up and keep her in trim. Last year, for instance, we took all of the anti-fouling off the bottom of the hull, right back to the bare wood. 22 years or more of accumulated gunge. I took it right back to the bare wood and found that it was in excellent condition.
What's she made of?
Wood. I should imagine it's large. So it's a Hilliard boat, and that's what they usually use, mahogany up the top, which is in very nice condition underneath.
What are they going to do today? Do you know what's going to happen today?
Well, they're planning to lift the mast out, and then the mast will go in the mast store, and she'll be covered over for the winter.
We're sitting down below on Nancy, and the guys are still clambering around on deck, taking the mast down and taking the boom down. What's she like down below? Describe life.
Well, she's like the Goblin down below. Since she's being stripped down for the winter, there are no blue mattresses on the bunks, but there are the blue seat backs, and if you open them, you see the cavernous lockers that are normally full of tins of food and cups and plates and whatever. And we have some oil lamps.
Are they the original oil lamps, you said?
Who knows? I mean, Mike Rhines, when he did the restoration about 30 years ago now, obviously replaced a lot of stuff that had gone missing. Quite a lot of stuff was still here. Can't vouch for all of it though, but right up until this summer, we managed down here with just these two oil lamps. And during the summer we put in an overhead lamp.
See those.
And a couple of overhead lamps in the galley, the cooker and the sink, so that when you're sailing, living aboard and trying to cook in the evening and it's dark, you can actually see what you're doing, and it's made a huge amount of difference to life aboard without, we hope, making any appreciable difference to the authenticity of the Goblin experience down here.
What are the photos on the bulkhead there?
Well, that one over there, should we start with that one, is Arthur Ransome sailing Nancy, probably on the Walton backwaters, taken by Josephine Russell. She and her brother met him at Levington, where he actually lived when he was down here. This one was given to me by Alex Haig, who invented the Deben lugger, lives down at Waldringfield, and this is at Waldringfield Quay, and there's Mr. Ransome doing something to Nancy's rudder.
So how many can sleep aboard?
Well, there are 4 berths. You're sitting on, I think you're sitting on John's, I can never quite remember. I think I'm sitting on Roger's at the moment. What I can remember is that this one here, on the port side forward, is Titty's, and the other one is Susan. Is when children come aboard to look around, those who know the books always make a beeline for Titty's bunk for some reason. And right forward, there's the heads. We used to have a baby Blake, which I used to argue was the closest you could get to Ransome when sitting on anything on aboard, but it became very old and unhygienic. We had to move it out. It doesn't appear in the cutaway drawing of the Goblin in the book. That bit of the boat is not cut away very discreetly. When we get school kids on board, though, they're always fascinated to find out what is behind the little door down there. Some drawers here. Ransome, I think, had a stove there at one time.
Do you have a galley on
The galley is behind you, really.
Yeah.
It's just by the steps as you come down. It's all exactly as described in the book. You come down, there's a cooker to starboard.
And a little white enamel sink to port.
Well, we've got the radio equipment and everything is in there. This year we've actually put AIS thingy in there.
Yeah.
And you can actually go online now on the website and see where Nancy is. Which is wonderful to watch her moving along. Find out where she's got to of an evening. Well, we're coming down into Pin Mill, down the famous deep green lane at the start of We Didn't Mean to Go to Sea. And if we just walk on down, there is the River Orwell. And we'll soon come to Alma Cottage. Alma Cottage used to be a pub. It was the Alma Inn. The whole of it was Miss Powell's establishment, and the bay window was the dining room where Jim Brading fell asleep on the dining table.
In his plate of food or whatever.
Plate of soup. And next door to Alma Cottage, of course, the famous Buck and Oyster pub, where Jim Brading was going to see what they could do for him for breakfast at 7 p.m. in the evening, after he'd sailed single-handed around from Dover. Now here we are outside Harry King's boatyard. There's a famous sign, it's been there for donkey's years. Ransome kept Nancy Blackett at King's. She wasn't built there, she was built in Littlehampton. He sailed her all the way round to Pin Mill through storms and goodness knows what. King looked after her. He built Peter Duck for Ransome, and he built Selina King as well here. And he sponsored Ransome to become a member of the Pin Mill Sailing Club. They've got it in the records. Mr. Ransome of Levington. They used to meet in the Butt and Oyster when Ransome joined. Mr. Ransome lived over the water, down at Levington on the other side of the river, and would row across sometimes to get here.
Where did he learn to sail?
We don't really know. He did a lot of it in the Baltic after the Russian period. It's believed he actually bought a boat before he went to Russia, though, because he wrote a letter to somebody mentioning a boat that he'd bought at Southampton. Nobody knows.
So Peter, we've managed to get upstairs in the Butt and Oyster with this great view over the whole of the upper Orwell. We're at Pin Mill, which is probably your spiritual home.
Well, I've left instructions for my ashes to be scattered here.
Where does Nancy Blackett fit into your sailing life?
Well, the first time I ever came to Pin Mill was about 1976, I think. It was a friend of mine's parents had a boat which they wanted delivered to the Baltic. 4 or 5 of us gathered together and sailed this. It was a 28-foot boat, so similar size to Nancy actually. It was a Sea Rover, a sort of tubby GRP yacht, very comfortable, very steady. And we took her from here to Den Helder, then up through the Frisian Islands, through the Kiel Canal and up to Stockholm. And that was probably the beginning of my sort of grown-up acquaintance with sailing. And then we did a lot of sailing on this river in a westerly 22. And then we, as a family, joined the Arthur Ransome Society when our daughters were kind of an age to be interested in the books. And one of the events that the Arthur Ransome Society in the Eastern region organised was a race between Nancy Blackett, which had been recently restored, and Peter Duck. And I just fell totally in love with Nancy Blackett. And that was about 2 years before she came on the market. And she'd been recently restored. I thought we of the Arthur Ransome Society ought to step in and make sure she got preserved for general use. There was a Nancy Blackett appeal which raised the money to buy her, and then that became the Nancy Blackett Trust.
What year are we talking about, really?
Well, she came on the market in 1996, and the asking price was 30,000, and it dropped to 25 when we became interested. And the appeal actually raised that money within a year.
So how do you actually run the boat? How does it work? Someone joins the Nancy Blackett Trust or the society? Or?
Yeah, Nancy Blackett, I mean, this is all a bit technical. She's a private pleasure boat owned by a club. So she's not a commercial charter boat. We have to make that clear because we don't wish to alter her too much from her original state and appearance and atmosphere and ambience. So she's a private boat, so you have to join the society, join the trust, which costs at present time £25 a year. And then, should you wish to sail her, you can book space, book time. We do a variety of sails. You can do a little short sail and back an afternoon sail on the river with a picnic or something like that for the family. We do a weekend down to the Walton backwaters, maybe.
So you have designated skippers?
We have designated skippers, volunteer skippers, all of them CRB checked out, and all of them suitably competent. And then we do longer sails across to Holland in particular, or around to the south coast, or even down to Falmouth. Yeah.
So you come up with a programme and then people sort of book time into that?
Over the last few years we've evolved a system whereby we'll do a programme occupying a period of several weeks, and then we'll, as it were, partition the weeks in the programme into individual weeks so people can have a week on board, change over on a Saturday, and it makes it very neat and very easy to get to grips with and plan a holiday. Payment, which is actually very modest, is about 30 or 40 quid a day, goes on all the costs associated with actually sailing the boat. The £25 or more that people pay into the trust as membership fees and donations is what we use to maintain the boat.
So how many members have you actually got?
Around 400.
That's a good number.
It's not a bad number. It's exactly, well, very nearly the same number that we started out with, because about that number of people chipped into the original fund to buy her.
Sounds like a good way to have a part of a boat.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it is.
for almost anybody could afford that.
Yes, if they want to. To be honest, not all the members want to sail, which is probably just as well. I mean, I suppose there are the three categories of members, if you like. Armchair members who really just want to help preserve Arthur Ransome's boat and have her looked after. There are people who join because they would like to have had the experience of sailing on her, so they may do a day sail or maybe a weekend. And then there's the type of person who actually likes sailing and likes sailing an old boat with some character.
And so you've got a sort of core group of sailors that actually take her here and there and look after her all the time.
And we have open days and things like that, so people can come and, because quite a lot of people simply want to see her, step aboard, sit aboard, look at the bunks, see which one was Titty's bunk, Susan's bunk, John's bunk, Roger's bunk, and get the feel of her without actually having to put to sea. So yeah, we like doing events.
Did Ransome ever write aboard Nancy Blackett? Did he write any books?
Very probably. I mean, Nancy Blackett inspired We Didn't Mean to Go to Sea, and he sailed her while he was writing her. And we certainly know that he used to take her around to Walton backwaters with a sheaf of proofs to correct, and with his dinghy Cocky Bondo as a tender. And then when he got there, he'd go for a little sailing across the pond and probably forget to do any of the proofreading and so forth. But he always intended to, I think, with the best will in the world.
Who's your favourite character of the four main characters, really, in We Didn't Mean to Go to Sea?
Well, We Didn't Mean to Go to Sea, I mean, it is eventually John that is just comes into his own in that book. In the earlier books, he's a bit of a cardboard cutout in a way, and he doesn't really come to life as much as he might. But in We Didn't Mean to Go to Sea, he just is. You get to see into his mind. Of the four swallows, I think for most people actually, Titty is the most relatable with. I mean, John is the senior, the leader, the look after them chap, do no wrong. Susan's the little mother. Roger's the naughty schoolboy. But Titty is the sensitive one that, the events, you see the events through her eyes a lot of the time.
She does represent the author's voice, doesn't she? Partly.
She does, a lot,
Yeah. What's your favourite time on Nancy Blackett? You've written about her a few times, but is there a favourite moment?
Well, I don't know about moment, but I mean the week that we had in Holland a couple of years ago was absolutely terrific. But I don't know, this summer I ended up doing a bit of tacking up the river for some photography work.
Was that just here, I think?
Yeah, just between here and Wolverstone where she lives. And we just were banging back and forth. It's almost like dinghy sailing. It's just such fun. She heels over quite a bit. People who aren't really used to sailing need to be warned about this, that she will do that. But what she does is she gets into a little groove of her own at a particular angle and then she's away. And then you wang the till over and she's back over the other side and you're rushing around. I mean, sailing can be quite boring, but when you're tacking, and you're changing all the sheets over, it gets to be good fun.
What about the worst? What was the worst that you've had on Nancy?
That's easy. The first time, at the end of the first season that we had, my good colleague, now sadly deceased, Terry Absalom, and I had to bring her back from the Orwell up to Southwold to Harbour Marine, where she was living at the time. And we had a great sail up there, misjudged the tides for arrival to the Blythe, came in, got caught by the tide and rushed towards the northern pier at the entrance to the river. And I think I just completely blacked out because I could see our precious bowsprit and this huge stone wall ahead of us going like that. And I go, oh my God. But when I came to, Terry had sort of managed to hoist the tiller around and actually get her out of trouble. But that was a real heart-in-mouth job.
A close call.
And yeah.
And what sort of plans are there for going on with it, or how do you see things?
We're looking to bring new members in, to particularly bring children and schools in. We're working on a sort of plan to develop our schools programs. I mean, we do have at least one school that comes every year to see us, and we like some more. And generally make more friends in the local sailing community, which we keep trying to do. We need more skippers, we need more mates.
And this is your book. You just published this about a year or two ago.
That's right.
Good Little Ship. Is this all about the life of the boat?
It is. It's the history of Ransome's ownership of her, how she fed into the creation of We Didn't Mean to Go to Sea.
Yeah.
And then what happened to her afterwards.
Yeah.
I mean, he sold her only after about 3 years.
It's a nice book. I read it, and it's good. I recommend it. Yeah, it's a lovely thing to have done. I bet you're pleased it's done. It must have been some years in the making.
It was actually. It tended to get interrupted by real life quite a lot of the time.
Yeah.